Welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, opinions and reactions. Lots to get into today. So many different people to talk about. Saliba, Diaby, Lavia, Havertz, Declan Rice, of course. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're very nearly at that 2,750 mark. Massively appreciate the support recently. Yesterday was just a whirlwind day of emotions. I mean, Rice, it was on, it was off. Man City were in. Caicedo's off. It was just high drama. I want to start with William Saliba, though. This has come out from Fabrizio Romano today. Documents approved, details fixed. William Saliba will sign a new long-term deal at Arsenal, as expected, after final talks revealed last weekend. Here we go. Understand Saliba will put pen to paper when he returns from holidays. New deal June 2027 with an option until 2028. So effectively a 5-year contract for Saliba. And look, that makes him one of the top 5 most valuable centre-backs in the world, truthfully. A player of his age, his ability, tied to a 5-year deal in the Premier League. Absolutely phenomenal business by Arsenal. Really, really good. Just another stepping stone to being, you know, the club that we want to be. And so happy days. Obviously, he'll come back from holiday at some point. I'm sure there will be an announcement, probably when it's a bit quiet on the transfer front. It's one of those ones. You keep that one in your back pocket so that when fans are getting a little bit frustrated about the lack of signings, you pull that out as if it's a new signing. But there we go. That's good news on William Saliba. Moussa Diaby. This has come out today from 2 different French sources. Now, both of them can be dodgy. But both of them can also be very accurate when it comes to French players. So, L'Equipe said Arsenal have moved in recent weeks and are now in pole position to sign Bayer Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby. And RMC Sports said Arsenal submitted an offer for Moussa Diaby on the final day of last summer's transfer window and remain keen on signing the Frenchman. So, I don't know, you know, with all the Havertz news, no one really knows where Havertz is going to play. And some people were theorising that he would come in as a right-sided sort of different option to Saka, maybe. But if we're going for Moussa Diaby, then that's a straight-up Saka backup almost, and a very, very good one at that. I think he's going to be around 60 million probably. I don't think Bayer Leverkusen will get what they've been holding out for. I think he's got a year left on his deal and is quite keen on a move. So, you know, it could get done for 60 million. It's interesting, we're in pole position. Newcastle United are also in the race. But I've heard things like, you know, Newcastle aren't going to spend more than 100 million this summer because they still have to abide by FFP rules. So we might have a relatively free run at Diaby if we've got the money and if we want to make that signing. Now, I mean, look, we're talking about squad depth. Last season, it was clear that we needed a backup to Saka. Saka cannot continue playing as many minutes and as many games as he has done for Arsenal. And, you know, Moussa Diaby is a more like-for-like alternative to Saka because he's left-footed, where Reiss Nelson, as good as he is, isn't a like-for-like backup to Bukayo Saka. If you want to continue playing the same sort of system, whether you've got Saka or Diaby, you can do. So, look, I'm excited if it's what we're going for. Again, I'm not sure what it means in terms of the Kai Havertz thing. We'll get onto that in a second. But it's just more money being spent, isn't it? Which is kind of crazy. So now on to Romeo Lavia, the Southampton holding midfielder. This is coming about because basically it came out yesterday that Arsenal are not in the race for Caicedo. That's not something that's going to happen. And at first that was disappointing to hear until you find out that basically Brighton are holding out for over 100 million for Moises Caicedo from Chelsea. And quite simply, you cannot get Rice and Caicedo both for over 100 million, both on the sort of terms that those clubs are looking for in terms of paying those in 2 instalments and in quite short amount of time, just because of FFP. It's just something it's unachievable for Arsenal. So it would have been frustrating if Caicedo was going for maybe 70 million, but if they want over 100 million, we're not going to get Rice and Caicedo, and I would still just about prefer Declan Rice. So now we talk about Romeo Lavia, and look, this is coming from Miguel Delaney. I think he writes for The Independent. He's not a great source, truthfully, but he said Mikel Arteta noted how his side were occasionally outmatched physically in last season's run-in and has sought to bolster the power of his side. Arsenal are not that advanced with Romeo Lavia, but are seen as his most likely next club. Arsenal are seeking to make Declan Rice and Romeo Lavia their new midfield for next season, with another bid to be put in for the West Ham captain and progress being made for the Southampton youngster. So, look, he's the only person that's really come out with this story, and he isn't the best source, but look, even bad sources or average sources do get things right. So he's the first person talking about it. Doesn't mean he'll be the last. And I think that would be massive. If you can get Lavia for half the price of Caicedo, I think Lavia's ceiling is unbelievable. In that game at the Emirates that we drew 3-3 to Southampton, he outplayed Thomas Partey. If you looked at both of them playing in that game, Lavia was a better player. That doesn't mean he is a better player, but he certainly has the potential to be. And so that is exciting for me. If you can't get Rice and Caicedo, Rice and Lavia is really not a bad alternative. Obviously, I'll update you if more comes out on that. Make sure you subscribe. Kai Havertz, Ornstein. This is coming from David Ornstein. Obviously, we really are getting quite close to Havertz by the sounds of things. And he is a key target for us at this point, and Ornstein's backed that up. He said Arsenal want to recruit a more attack-minded midfielder. They initially targeted Mason Mount, but once it emerged that his preference is to join Manchester United, the focus shifted to another Chelsea player in Kai Havertz. A first proposal has been submitted amid the contract for both clubs and with the Germany international. So apparently we've pretty much agreed personal terms with Kai Havertz. He is completely given the green light to leave Chelsea, and now it's just a case of dealing with Chelsea for the fee. The thing is, Chelsea have to get lots of players off their books by the end of this month. So before the international market opens, because you still can't make transfers between the Premier League and teams outside of the Premier League at the moment, or outside of England, so they can't sell him abroad. So it really does mean that it gets to the end of this month, they might have to offload him for a cut price. They're now talking about potentially as little as 40 million for Kai Havertz with 20 million in add-ons, and I don't think that's bad. I do think there is a player there. There's clearly a player there. I just don't still know where he plays. I tweeted last night, the best idea I have is that he's coming in as a left-sided midfielder, almost in the Granit Xhaka role, because I don't think he's great up front anyway. His finishing isn't good enough. We've seen that at Chelsea over the last 2 or 3 years, where he's predominantly played up top. And I don't think he'd replace Jesus anyway. He's certainly not going to replace Saka or Martinelli or Martin Odegaard. So if we're playing the same system as last season, I can only really see him coming in as that left-sided central midfielder. But again, if we're then bringing in Lavia and Rice and we've got Partey, I mean, it's a good problem to have. Lots of players, not enough positions. Very interested to see how it develops. Of course, with his height, 6'3", he is just an alternative option in general for the attack. Someone with a different stature. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And then finally, Declan Rice. Obviously, we know we put in a bid yesterday, around 80 million. It was rejected, flat out rejected. We've immediately pretty much come back with a second offer. This is coming from West Ham, or ex-West Ham employee, who's very close to West Ham and gets most West Ham things correct. He said, as we confirmed last night, we believe that Arsenal are preparing a second offer for Declan Rice. The offer is thought to be in the region of 91 million plus 10 million in add-ons, and the offer should be submitted today or tomorrow. The key to this deal, however, is the duration of the payment. West Ham, mainly through being on the financial fair play watch list, would like a large sum of the fee up front. Where Arsenal want it to be spread over 6 years, and there appears to be a big difference in that part of the deal. The other factor that's also a problem is the 10 million in add-ons. Arsenal basically have quite what West Ham consider to be unrealistic expectations for those add-ons, so winning the Champions League, that sort of thing. But finally, and this is the crucial part for me that is very good news on Declan Rice, Rice has made it clear that Arsenal is his number one choice of destination, and whilst it remains unlikely at this stage, if a fee cannot be agreed with Arsenal, he might decide to see out his contract at West Ham despite interest from Man City. So he might actually turn down Man City, stay at West Ham to force a move to Arsenal on a free in a year's time, which would be unbelievable. But we know that it's the sort of thing he's willing to do. He's effectively turned down £10 million worth of extra wages over the last 18 months to make sure that he could get a move away. So it's really good to see that he is that focused and that determined to join Arsenal. Arteta said it previously. You shouldn't have to be encouraged or persuaded to join Arsenal. It should be something you want to do. And it really seems like Declan Rice is that guy. So there you go. That is all of the transfer roundup today. Everyone covered. Obviously, if there are more updates, it'll be live on my Twitter, on my TikTok. Also, Alessia Russo on the women's side is coming to Arsenal on a free. It has been confirmed she's leaving Manchester United and coming to Arsenal on a free. That is phenomenal business, considering we made a world record bid for her in January. when she only has 6 months left on her contract. United turned it down, and now she's coming to us on a free. So very good news on the women's side. But look, if you've enjoyed the video, please do smash a like on it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you all tomorrow. I hope you have a great evening. Cheers.